Welcome to Band Scamps, an in-depth look at albums and releases by West Michigan artists. Hosted by Dan Fisher and Julio Gomez. This week on Band Scamps, Dan and Julio review
The Forest Floor by Matt Loeks and John Clark Bailey Jr. and How Are You? No Really, How Are You? By Eli Kahn.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Band Scamps, episode 16.
What's up?
Hey, dude. This is Julio.
Hey, I'm Julio.
I'm Dan Fisher.
This is Dan Fisher. We're in the basement of fancy recording studio right now.
Yes, we've been shunned to the
nice
basement.
Down here. Yeah, we've been outcasted. My mom was telling me that my dad's been getting into music again.
Mm-hmm.
She confided in me that he needs to. It's kind of annoying her a little bit. His constant playing, and I think he might get shunned to the basement too. So, Dad, if you're watching, I don't think you are, but you're due for shunning.
Dang, that's savage, honestly.
That's an exclusive.
That's
exclusive. A Gomez family exclusive.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like a fly on the wall.
What do you think of our new set, everybody?
Yeah, let us know in the comments
really
below
good.
because we're on YouTube now.
We're on YouTube now. If you're listening to us on our RSS feed, either on Apple Music or Spotify or whatever, wherever you find podcasts, you might be unaware that we do this on video now.
You might be eligible to refinance.
This is this is our fourth video episode.
Fourth? Wow, that's insane.
I know there's one I haven't edited yet.
Shit.
As of the moment of this taping.
Shit.
Today is, what's the date today? 26th, 25th?
It's May 27.
May 27th. See, I don't even know what day it is.
Yeah, it's May 27th. It's a Thursday, and it is right now 8:02.
This is our new set. This is maybe our best set ever.
Yeah, this is the best set. This is as good as it's
album art up here.
Whatever.
Do whatever. I don't know. Let us know what we should do with this back wall.
Yeah,
I kind of don't really know what we should do. I feel like, yeah.
Do you want like a cutout?
One popular thing is like kind of like painting different colors.
Yeah.
You know, maybe rock posters was something on the Discord said.
Maybe we should get one of those fat head stickers. You know, of like a sports player. You know. Maybe we can get one of like.
I'm not familiar with sports.
Exactly, that's why it's gonna be funny.
I don't. I was gonna say I'm not familiar with Fathead, but I just don't know what sports are.
Yeah, that's what the brand is called, Fathead.
What is it?
It's like this large vinyl stickers that you just put on your wall, and it's like, whatever.
I'm game.
Like I'm trying to think of a current football player. I should know this anyway. Hey,
so you don't know sports either.
I do know sports, but I haven't thought about them in months.
Yeah, are sports still happening? Not really. Kind of.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think Tigers now will be doing full stadium soon.
Woo!
So.
Woo!
Okay.
Woo!
So
these mics sound good.
Yeah, they do. If you're not familiar with us, we review music by West Michigan artists. We do 2 albums an episode. Sometimes we do singles, but most of the time we do two albums an episode. So thanks for joining us.
That's the very first time we've ever done that.
I know, right?
Show is explained. I mean, we did say at one time, like, if you're just joining us, then realize, like, how does that happening?
Yeah.
But if you're just joining us mid-season 1,
yeah,
we're in episode 16. We've done so many reviews. We're going to keep doing them more. All of our reviews we've done so far are submitted by the artists.
Bandscamps@gmail.com.
Yeah, please send us your record. This has been a thrill.
It has been a thrill.
This has been a thrilling ride.
Hey, you can't buy a thrill.
This is take 2. I changed my shirt because I wasn't feeling comfortable, but now we're back, and
I feel more
ready
comfortable
to just.
Yeah. For those who weren't here, which is everyone, he was having some at first heavy Eddie Vedder vibes.
Yeah.
And then after that, he lost the Eddie Vedder vibes.
I still wanted to wear some from a plaid flannel. I was feeling so kind of even flow, and I was like, you know what?
Let's get a little more Jeremy in here.
Right. Jeremy smoking crack cocaine.
Jeremy
that's what I thought.
Smoking.
That's what I thought the lyrics were to that song the first time. No, I'm serious. The first time I heard that song for a long time, I thought he was saying Jeremy smoking crack cocaine.
Dang, that's somehow making the song even more dark. Is
the song dark? Just the video's dark.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's about like a truth article that he read.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say it was about something that happened to him, but it was just about the real article.
Yeah, did you know that Eddie Vedder got in front of class and shot himself?
It's about a real article he read. I love it.
That's messed.
Oh yeah, but man, good job doing an ID. And yeah, Dan's right. We do West Michigan music, and it's all artist submitted. We review them and talk about them at length, and we were going to get right into it as soon as we get comfortable. I think.
Exactly. I think I have one more thing before I get comfortable here is
What's
to
up?
remind y'all that the best way that you can support all this hilariousness is through patreon.com/bandscamps. That's our Patreon page, and where you can sign up to be a patron to support us and just encourage us and enable us.
Yeah, you are kind of an enabler. We should have an enabler tier.
Yeah.
It should
we
be
should,
the lowest $1 tier should be called enabler.
I love it. Do you want to be an enabler?
Yeah.
Hey, we
But
welcome all
for real,
enablers.
we are so thankful and grateful for all of our patrons. It's a small but growing list, and it really does help us out a lot.
It does. It helped us buy these amazing microphones.
It did, yeah. It really did. It's helping with hosting and any kind of upgrades down the line that we can even think of.
And long lost episode 16, take 1, we actually discussed moving forward on merch.
Oh yeah, we did. So we'll do merch. We should put out long episode for the patrons
yeah.
only. That's a pretty good whole little thing of back behind the scenes there.
I love the idea of sending them something and it's like 4 hours long. They're this bad at doing one episode.
Yeah. I think, here's an exclusive video. It's 6 hours long.
And half the time it's just us on our phones. Just saying, you ready yet? I need a second.
Man, this is going to be a doozy.
A doozy. Hey, we got 2 West Michigan artists today.
Yeah,
Get right
as
into
always.
it.
So let's go to the first one. This one is by a duo.
A duo.
So we got someone by the name of...
Matt Loeks,
Yep, and we also have...
John Clark Bailey Jr.
Yeah. So, disclosure here, I know that name.
Me too.
So I know that name, and I'm pretty sure it was the same person. I looked him up. John's also a visual artist.
Visual artist.
So this is exciting.
Very talented.
This is going to be, in addition to Fruit Punch, I think we've had a couple visual artists that we've reviewed.
So the album's called Forest Floor, and it came out May 7th of this year, so very recent.
Yeah, love it. Love a new one. Love everything that's been going on in this last couple of years. Has been very interesting musically.
Yeah, and
I'm ready to talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Another full disclosure is that I just kind of knew the nature of this album just by following John on Instagram and seeing him kind of practicing some of the music or writing it.
Cassie also mentioned that she had seen some of his stuff on Instagram. I don't think I follow him.
So,
I own some of his art.
do you?
Yeah, I have some prints. I have some like little postcard prints. I have some original pieces too. I think I have one or two. There's an original somewhere in the basement here. There's one of his originals.
Oh, nice. I know that he's...
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of his work. So
Me too.
full disclosure there too.
I know he's good friends with Adam Lux, who did the artwork for Easer's tape art.
Oh, far out.
So he's beloved in the art scene.
Very interesting. Yeah. So first impressions.
First impressions outside of knowing that it's going to be like instrumental music, at least.
How did it say that somewhere that it was going to be instrumental
It didn't,
music?
but I
Okay.
just kind of...
You had a feeling it was going to be instrumental?
Yeah, and just kind of knowing... I think he's taught to me about like the kind of music that he does.
This instrumental music really is kind of having a very interesting like...
It's like a resurgence.
Yeah, it's
Or, like-
not even a resurgence. It's just a surge.
Yeah.
You know, like... I mean, okay, fine. Instrumental music was very popular
Yeah.
in like back in the day, and it's always comes around. But I feel like when I was even younger, it was like less acceptable to listen to instrumental music, or it seemed like, oh, there's no words. You know,
Exactly, because it's usually... Because we all just thought it was techno. You know, instrumental was either like techno or like classical.
or classical or jazz
Yeah.
or marching band music or
Exactly.
something.
Yeah, it wasn't like in mainstream pop.
Right. And that did start to change. Like, you know, I think it's always been around.
It
but
really launched with the lo-fi hip hop beats.
man, you could even say, but like before that too, you know, like some 80s stuff. There's a lot of instrumental music in the 80s of dance stuff and even disco stuff, extended breaks, extended mixes. I don't know, but this is definitely not in the dancey side of
No, this is like experimental.
at least from the get-go, what I'm seeing by like the track one, how it comes in, it's pretty long, kind of slow burn, even from the very get-go.
Right. It's called Gateway, by the way. First
Track
song's called-
one?
Yes.
So,
But more relevant to like
go ahead.
the outside of the genre about this song, my first impression was kind of getting like a a live element to this. It kind of like I wondered if how much this was like performed like live or like in the moments, or because there were some things that were like felt like maybe you could like feel like the improvisation a little bit, and like there were some wavering tones and rhythms a little bit.
You kind of mentioned like wavering. I want to kind of draw attention to the album art real quick before we go any further.
Oh yes,
too,
thank you.
Which I assume is by John as well.
Yeah,
or maybe some kind of collaboration.
It'll be right here.
Oh yeah, maybe some kind of collaboration between both artists here. But it does kind of have a bit of a postmodern feel. The line, it's pretty minimal and it's pretty abstract.
Yeah.
And I think that comes across really, really soon in this record as well.
Yeah, it pairs well.
I was expecting, so this record starts, and it does kind of start ambient, but to be honest, there's a lot more going on here than just ambient. There's a lot of melody.
There's a lot of
slow burning buildup. It's like movements.
Yeah.
And you know what I think about right away is that band Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say that
this
too.
band, I think, has taken a lot of cues from that band, and I know like comparisons are always hard to hear, or maybe good to hear. You never know. I'm always wondering like, oh, is someone gonna like that comparison or not? When someone's elated to be like, you sound like Bright Eyes, and they're like, fuck yeah, I do. And that's really great. But it has kind of that like new post rock but classical movement kind of situation to it.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's not necessarily like verse, chorus, even. There's just like, part A, part B,
right,
etc.
Yeah. It movements, it's like movements or acts.
Yeah.
I was actually expecting more ambient stuff, like I said.
Me too.
And this is actually very interesting.
Yeah, like I think the guitar played more of a major part than I was originally like expecting, honestly.
It kind of took me away.
Yeah.
And this was listener, this was kind of a hard one to really like wrap my head around at first, because I saw at least 5 songs, 5 songs,
5 songs, I think.
5 songs, and some are really long. There was like some like 20-minute, or not 20-minute, 12-minute. I think 11-minute.
Oh yeah, I think the shortest song is like 9 minutes or something.
Okay, so right away I was like, oh boy,
Yeah, it could be a doozy.
Did you have an oof moment when you saw the track length?
Just knowing. Again, like knowing John and knowing the kind of music he's into, I was actually looking forward to it because I think it's more in my wheelhouse.
You're more receptive to this than I am, I think. And I don't know why. I saw Godspeed live once back in the day, back in the early 2000s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nice. I saw him in Chicago.
That's awesome.
It was fucking so boring. It was like...
That's what I hear.
But it was like everyone's standing, and then it took seriously like 3 hours into their set, everyone decides to sit down, and I remember it being like, I feel like an idiot for standing that whole time. You know what I mean? Because it was so much better when I sat down, but I tell you what, my legs were tired.
I bet.
Went to go see Godspeed You Black Emperor, and boy, are my legs tired.
Boy, are my legs. Hey, welcome to AFV.
So basically,
but this music is like post-rocky kind of.
Definitely post-rock. But kind of not like going towards the more funky side of post rock, or the more like hip hop, or
even heavy, like in volume wise.
No,
this is all very mellow.
So, let me like bring you to where I am in my mental state. Okay. I'm listening to this song. It kind of takes me away, and then about 5 minutes in, there's a repetition that brings me back, and I'm like, okay, this all of a sudden I don't like, and I look, and 5 minutes has passed.
Interesting.
Of me just being taken away, and it brings me back and kind of locks me back into reality, and then it goes somewhere else again.
Yes, that's interesting that you say that about that repetition part, because I made a note saying like that I really like the repetition, and I think we've been talking about this a lot with our past instrumental submissions.
Sure. Yeah,
and I think a lot of the artists have kind of, in our opinion, missed the mark on how to like really embrace and utilize repetition, and I think here they really succeed.
Okay, I think that it does at times, but what I'm saying though is it's so interesting that like it brought me back to wherever I had gone. I was kind of down here, viewers. I was kind of down here organizing this, getting our shots, and listening, and typing on the phone, and like cleaning up and stuff. And I just noticed that like it brought me back, and it was like really. I didn't like that it took me out of that moment, but how cool is that I like noticed it and then it went somewhere else,
Yeah, it's almost like you knew it was going to go to another part.
Right.
Like unconsciously, so it's like, hey, like I want to bring you back so you can recognize this next movement here.
Right. And it's wild because even I write like this is cool. The next thing
Yeah.
I write, even though it knocked me out of whatever
Uh-huh.
trance I was in, my conscious thing was to say this is cool. And it was like psychedelic.
It was psychedelic for sure.
And sometimes with psychedelia, so psychedelia is hard to talk about when you like those actual psychedelic experiences, but when you are experiencing something so fully that you no longer become when you no longer become an observer, you kind of just become like, well, you're just only the observer, but you have nothing to reference to. You don't have anyone to say like, "Whoa, this is cool."
Yeah.
Like you are so immersive that there's no one to talk to. There's no there's no inner observer. You know what I mean?
It's kind of what I imagine, like if you live life through second person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Where you're like, whoa, and like, or like it's so first person, but there's no reference point to talk to, and that's what this music did to me so many times.
Yes, I would agree. Shifting gears
Go ahead,
though
yeah, please.
on like some more like sound stuff.
Yeah.
I really was, and this kind of comes up later on throughout the songs too. But there was a lot of like kind of like 80s vibes, like in like the tones, like with like the electric piano sounds and like some of the guitar solos, and I thought it was actually like really tasteful, and I
There's
thought
a lot of shifting.
yeah, and it was like really cool though, because it was like, you know, it could easily be like they could go like a harsh route or like you know, very atmospheric route, but they kind of chose these like 80s things, and it kind of builds this like noir kind of vibe.
Oh yeah, dark. It definitely has
Yeah.
80s, like kind of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
There's a couple times where they're using these synths that sound really plunky in 80s or early 90s. Yeah, I have the same thing. This is cool. Some really cool production on here.
Yeah.
Some false harmonics and the guitar come
Yeah.
in. Cool music.
It's cool music.
And I write here, this is chill music. Cool ending. Oh wait, this is not a new track yet.
Yes. So
Did that happen to you on this song too?
yes, and I thought that kind of bothered me because I was like, oh, we're on the next song. That's a cool transition. Like it just flowed right into it, and it's like, oh, we're in the same song. And I was just, and then it only lasts for like a minute, and then we go to the second song, and so that's what like took me out of it, because I was like, ooh, I want to see like, what's the title of this next song, and it was still the same song.
So you had the same experience, but later. Interesting.
So yeah, like that last like minute part kind of threw me off, and it kind of took me out of it.
Yeah, I didn't notice it until it did that, and I write, oh, cool ending, and then when it actually ended, I was like, oh, I thought that was a new track.
Exactly, that's exactly what happened to
Very
me.
interesting. You wanted to go on to this next track?
Yeah, my only thing, and I think this comes up later again for the songs, is like I could use some low end in the song.
No low end.
Yeah,
nothing.
There's nothing there,
Man,
right?
some sub bass, even some mud.
Yeah, just something, but it was just all like those like just really middles. They're very middles, and it got like, I don't know, muddy at times, but it's all good.
I definitely feel that. You want to go on to the next track? This one's called 8 Hour Life.
I think it's just called Ninth Life.
Ninth Life.
Yeah.
Man, I think my vision is going.
Yeah, you don't have your glasses on. Are you wearing
I
contacts?
I wear my contacts on. I was wearing my glasses earlier, and
Gotcha.
I think my glasses are just shit.
My glasses.
So yeah, bass and piano on here.
Bass and piano, yes. It finally has some bass, so like, you know,
is that making you a little bit happier?
it does. I feel more like pleased, at ease. You know, it's a droney, which is cool. It's fitting. What do I say here? Oh, so this is kind of a weird. I wonder if you'll agree with me on this, but like the beginning
lay it on me.
riff kind of like has like me thinking there's some like metal influences.
Okay, so I have written here Metallica.
Me too. Yes.
Yes.
I have Metallica and Tool.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't write Tool down. But I heard Tool. Metallica, like Metallica ballads, you know, like
exactly.
or the slow parts before it
Yep.
gets into fast. This seems more written than jammed.
For sure.
You know,
and that's where I picked this up on.
Yeah, and it makes me think even in the older stuff. Okay, this was actually more written, and I really like that.
I really appreciate that.
Because I think comparing that to some of the other records we've done, where I can tell maybe it arrived more of a jam. Even the next record we're going to talk about, I think some of those arrived in a more jam situation or live,
more like loop music in a way.
Sure,
you know?
sure. Whereas this, I think, is more written, orchestrated.
There's composition complexity here.
I love when you and I lock up.
I
like
love that.
I love when this shit comes
that's
together.
like I don't think a lot of people would pick that up.
Okay, so then I have here,
yes,
very moody.
Yes,
moody music.
It's very moody.
Yeah, so
more in that noir range.
Yeah, I want to talk about that more, but very, very, very incredible moody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems more written than jammed, and I wasn't sure for a while.
This is a little
moody,
more
spacey.
Yeah, spacey. This is like a little more minimal than the previous song, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And that even just like really put forward like the complexity of like the composition.
Right. Yeah, and speaking of composition, I start noticing at this point that we're not really dealing with verses. We're dealing with like
movements or like.
So I thought movements. Now the word I have here is acts.
Ooh, yes, I like that.
There's like three major acts in each
really
of these
good,
things
because the music is like very like cinematic in a way.
And I think that that's something that like even Godspeed we brought up earlier, or like. I was in a band in college we did one summer when I was back from college. I booked a show somewhere as the name So Pedestrian, and we were basically we're like, oh, we're like a film, but it's music. It's like that kind of shit. You know what I mean? And I think that has a lot of merit when you're coming to like, what is this? And they're acts.
Exactly.
There's like three or like, because movements, when you see movements in classical, I think you think
there's like a pause between
and they can be really short,
right?
Or they can be really long, and they kind of call into the old stuff. These are more like separate, almost like vignettes, even.
Yeah, and they blend really well, like from one to another. It's like a really nice like transfer of melody, I guess.
I like this a lot more than I like other music.
Me too. I was really like, especially by this, like just the second song here. I was like, this is really, really. Like, this is exceeding my expectations.
Like a lot of other music that's in the same vein. This was I really liked it.
Me too.
I was kind of surprised.
I was wondering. I was going to be like, I wonder if Julio's going to latch onto this or not.
What did you think? Do you think I would like it or no?
I was thinking you were going to be on the fence just because we've been doing a lot of instrumental music that that's kind of missed the mark for you. So
yeah,
I was thinking maybe you might even just be burnt out on it.
Yeah, and I also like I tend to like poppy stuff.
Right.
I kind of like pop music, and I think that people who know what I like are like, oh yeah, he actually likes some like poppy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I like punk and whatever and harder music.
Right.
But I like this a lot more than I like other music of its style.
That makes me happy.
Some nature sounds,
yeah, which fits with the album art. Again, it's kind of like that topographical, like top view, showing like elevation and such. So.
Soundscape. But the nature sounds almost make me think of like horror movies.
Yeah, putting nature sounds in music is so like such a dicey and like bold move because, it's so easy to be cheesy and like it seems very kind of like elementary.
Didn't
almost.
this come up with Silent Spirit? Didn't the Silent Spirit record that we just did last week?
Yeah, because they had like another nature theme, or environmental theme.
Yeah.
But I think it really
it's a vibe
here. It is a vibe, and maybe just because I had that like image of noir and just like a guy in like a coat like in the rain or something.
So you were getting like the private eye detective vibes.
I was getting like some guy who's like
you're saying straight up noir, like the film movement.
Yeah,
noir.
I'm like getting noir. Like this guy's like, he's like
a
PI.
Where Captain Picard goes to relax in the holodeck. Did you know that? Did you ever watch Next Generation?
Yeah.
He's always going to like some like detective thing.
Yeah,
and he finds it thrilling.
I love Picard.
It absolutely thrilling. Yeah.
Picard era is really.
Have you watched any of the new Picard?
No, I haven't. I kind of forgot about it, and then I was reminded by like a commercial on Hulu or something.
We're like halfway through it. I've kind of gone through waves of it, but now I'm kind of sucked in.
Yeah, it's good. It's like engaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's
good
actually
to know.
So far, I think. These nature sounds, though, back to this record, like there is something about it that makes me think more horror movie than like relaxing in the jungle.
Yeah, more like John Carpenter.
Yes. Or like even like again Twin Peaks. Like Twin Peaks takes place somewhere like in somewhat
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, and it's a little bit rural where it is,
Yeah, definitely.
This music also seems a lot longer than it is.
Yeah.
And it's already long.
Right.
But I don't even know how to describe that.
It's I don't know. It really and it's not like in like a bad way. It's just like it's very like a like you're like really traveling with the music in a way. And there's really no good way to explain it.
Yeah, I ask here like how is this even accomplished in this, because it's quite long.
Yeah.
And that's the only note I have in it. So it's just so dense, and this is a word that we've used a lot, and we've never really explained what that means. But it just is that. There's so much stuff going on with it to like think about or not think about and let it take you away, you know?
Right. And that's like the only kind of like battle you could have with like instrumental music is like finding the balance to where you want the listener to pay attention and where you want the listener to kind of like bliss out.
Yeah. And we don't get a lot of opportunities to do the latter. You know what I mean? Because we're
right.
like constantly focusing and like almost academically trying to figure out, get to the bottom of these records, you know?
And that's not a complaint from us, you know, but that is important for the listeners and viewers to know that it does require like a really kind of present listening.
Yeah, and maybe that's not the kind of listening this album wants. So, but I think that means our listeners are going to enjoy it even more than we probably did, or get a better experience out of it than we did.
I think the music. This is where it succeeds, though, because I didn't find myself like having that like internal battle of like, ooh, I should be doing this or this. It was just like when I was in, I was like, this is okay. When I was out, I was like, this is okay.
It took me a long time to get through this record.
Okay.
And even like I listened to these 2 songs right away, and I kind of had to take a break. It wasn't making me anxious. It didn't like raise my blood pressure like some music does, but it did give me like, it was heavy.
It's heavy.
It's solemn. And it's a lot, but it was really good.
Yes.
And so I did. I mean, at the same time, you know, I set this all up down here. You know, it's a little bit different than when you were here last time, and you know how the angles are and everything.
Right.
So I did all that and like helped clean a little bit and like took a shower. And the whole time I was going through this record, so it's so dense and it stuck with me like for all day. You know, I almost like wish we were doing the second because like it just stuck with me so hard that it almost pushed Eli's record out of my head.
Interesting. So I actually I listened to this after I listened to Eli's.
Okay, very interesting.
Because I knew,
you know, I did too.
And because I kind of knew what this was going to be. Like I knew it was going to be like instrumental at least. So I was like, oh, like in case I don't like Eli's record, I'll have something that I can kind of like chill out to.
I'm glad I did it in the order I did. I might need a quick refresh, just like skip through each track as I go with Eli's record. But this one, I'm glad I did it. But there was such an emotional weight to it that was really interesting. And that's all I have about these 2 tracks. Do you want to go to the next one?
Yeah, let's go to the next one.
Okay. So this next track is called 3?
3, yeah.
Guitar.
What does I say? I say, not sure how this is achieved, but so this one
Go ahead.
is like, there's something about I think this is a mixing thing, but it's kind of missing like a sense of depth. And like, you know, like, everything is just like the same volume kind of thing.
There were some things that were like loud volume that I was surprised were so loud, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's some guitar lead. And I don't think it's on this track, but it's like out of tune a little bit. Like it's straight up out of tune, and it comes in like and like there is some cool like usage of that, but there is a moment where it's like that is just wildly out of tune and coming in.
The guitar
very
tones
loud
in this song were like bothering me.
The tones,
and especially without bass too.
I think it was like poor intonation or poor intonation.
Yeah.
So the highs are not like in the right. They're not. Like the length between your 12th and your nut are not the same as your bridge and your nut. And there's something in there. I think is that what it's called? Intonation?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nice guitar. There's like a melodica. One of the things that you like blow in.
Right. This one has drums, but barely audible.
Yeah. Was there drums?
There was like cymbal for sure, but there was.
You know what? I listened to this whole things on headphones, and I really didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't
it's
notice.
Very
drums.
quiet.
I expected drums.
And you know, me too, especially with that post-rock vibe. Like post-rock really relies on like those heavy like epic drums at times.
Yeah, all the rhythmic stuff in this record is being done with melodic instruments.
Exactly.
It's dense.
It's super dense.
It's taking up a lot of space. Time-wise, taking up a lot of space. Not sonically, but time-wise. Like this is really
it's a long.
This is a 4D album where this is gonna consume time off your life.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how to describe how it's taking up so much time. It's taking up more time than it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just like relying on that build up or where it just feels like even
it's
more
like almost like Cubist, where it's like representing like more time than it actually is taking up. And I don't really understand this. Is this jazz? This track in particular?
I would say I'm gonna say maybe no, because I don't think there's just because of the way that everything has been composed so far. I don't really think it has like that, like a improvisation that jazz has.
I don't know if jazz needs to be improvised.
Yeah,
That I don't know.
I don't think I get like the.
By the time listener you hear this, we will have had Ditcher on, and maybe his jazz crew to inform us on jazz.
My favorite, just off the, but like, what was that YouTube comment about like the guy saying like you got to stop
referencing Steely Dan?
I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I will not. We never even said they sounded like Steely Dan.
No,
we talked
didn't.
about Steely Dan in reference to like how like bands that like some people don't like, but they do well or something.
But no.
I actually turned off the comment, the YouTube, the email notifications for YouTube comments. I was like, I'm gonna have to turn these off.
Yeah,
and they can just comment all they want.
Anyway,
I don't know if I'm ever gonna listen to this record again, but I tell you what, it's very interesting.
It is interesting. This is probably I think the weakest of the record. This middle song.
Okay.
Just because.
I don't agree. I do have this track is more boring. I have it written right here.
I think by this time I need some different like instrument sounds. I think this one would have really benefited from some horns and some like brass, like just like some more kind of like even like that brassy synth in like Blade Runner.
There's something going on here, man. That's like kind of cool, right?
It's kind of cool. This one it ends weak, which is kind of a bummer, especially because I had drums too.
That happens a couple times on this record. My last thought on this track is more boring.
Yeah.
So that's not good.
Yeah, that's not good. So,
but man, where we've been so far, how many minutes of music? We're only like 14 minutes in or something, right? If that,
I think right by now we're actually I think the first two songs are like they even out to around like 10 minutes.
We're in three. We're in three now.
Okay,
so
we've done about like 20 minutes maybe.
So long.
Yeah,
and
15 minutes.
So I'm listening to this thing, and after I write so long, I have thank you. It's changing up. Something changed up here.
Something changed.
Now we're getting like a desert vibe kind of feel halfway through this track. I kind of feel like
in 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it gets much better. About 4 minutes of them not really like doing anything is about my limit of what I can do with this band. I noticed.
Yeah.
4 or 5 minutes, because track 1, the same thing. There's about 5 minutes of something, and it was like, okay, something had to happen. And I think that happens on this track too, where there's like about 3 minutes of like something needs to change.
Yeah.
But I still don't hate what's happening.
Right. Because I think, again, like they do the repetition well, even if it does seem boring, but like they know that it is effective when done right.
Yeah, there's a lot of weight to what they're doing here. Like it feels like literally heavy, you know?
I think I was just getting really hung up on like, again, like the guitar tones and just like the lack of variation of like instrument tones and stuff.
Yeah.
That was like, it was just really distracting for me for this song.
Yeah. And like you said, it just sort of just ends.
Yeah. And you're just like, all right.
It probably was longer.
Yeah.
And they probably just like were like, oh, just cut that part out.
Yeah, that's what I think like that might be the only downfall of this is like they didn't really they were able to compose different like acts or movements, but like finding an ending was like maybe the weak point for their composition skills. Like cuz maybe they would just kind of like ride it and then be like, all right, I don't have another part written for this song.
I could definitely see that. Just ends. It just sort of ends.
Just kind of ends, and you're just like, okay.
So I have a note here too. This is where I said this earlier, but this is not the first visual artist that we reviewed who probably does art known primarily for their visual art. Fruit Punch is one of them.
Yeah,
I can't think of any off the top of my head of those that do also visual art primarily. But there's a lot of, I feel like, even with small artists trying different things, trying to do visual art, trying to do music, and it's really cool to hear someone who comes from the art, probably more known in the art scene and isn't very known in the music scene as a musician, put out a record that has some real weight to it.
Yeah, actually, one of my favorite artists, her name is Grouper, and she's out of Oregon, like Portland, Astoria, and she is like, I think primarily like a visual artist, but she's also a very beloved like ambient artist too. And like she's very like under the radar of like whenever she puts out music, like no one knows and it just happens, but like it's amazing.
That's very cool. I like, I myself do a lot of different mediums of art, and like I do all the design for Bandcamps, all the memes, all the everything, all the t-shirts for I Believe. So I'm kind of a visual artist, but I'm just kind of multimedia, but I'm probably more known for just music, and I've always kind of looked up to that as like art. But I've always been like, maybe I would trade all that to be so amazingly good at one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like kind of good at a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Like sort of good at a lot of things,
Yeah.
but like not exceptionally good at anything. And I would kind of trade that for that feeling,
Right. Which one you think you would want the most?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a hey, let us know at bandscamps@gmail.com.
I'm just like musing about that.
I know, right?
What's the other artist name? Matt
Loeks.
What else do they do?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting that it's kind of a collaborative.
Oh, he was on the last record we reviewed by Cotter Koopman. He was.
Oh, no kidding.
He's the Matt's from Matt's Piano.
Okay, far out.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, also a musician then.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if there was another like visual art thing. So this song just sort of ends. So maybe we just sort of ending talking about the song. Track 4 is called Sorry.
Sorry.
Do you think it's I wonder when I heard your voice saying it. Sorry.
Sorry.
Do you think this is like a sarcastic sorry, or do you think it's like
yeah, like
sorry?
It's kind of funny. Like after that week ending, and the next song is sorry. It's like sorry, you had to listen to that.
Is that how it felt like to you?
I just kind of like I had like one of those moments where you would type LOL, but you'd be like,
yeah, a real quick snort out the mouth. Yeah, that's all. That's all that gets. It was like. I don't know why I didn't even write a note about this because I was like, I'll remember this when I see sorry. I said it in your voice in my head.
Like, I don't even know what that means. Like, was it just me saying like I'm really sorry, or like just like funny?
No, like being like sorry,
like sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. I can't imagine you actually apologizing sincerely for anything.
No, that would be Wicker Basket. That would be a good drop. Is me being like sorry.
Yeah, there you go. We need to get all those drops. We need to make some Wicker Basket emojis too.
Yeah, we need some Wicker Basket emojis for sure.
So anyway, I think it's probably like the tone of the song is actually legitimate. Like I'm sorry for something very, very oppressive in this music. I'm noticing.
Interesting. Like in what way?
Like it just weighs down on you.
Okay,
but it like feels like more like a weighted blanket than it does like a cage. I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. I like that.
It probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but
I mean, oppressive is a very heavy word.
I don't mean like in a bad way. I mean it's like oppressive. I
think
like,
heavy is just like what.
I've used that kind of like language to describe like a drug effect where like it's oppressive, where it's like it can't be ignored. And maybe that's not the best language to use, but like the effects of this music are so apparent that you can't choose to ignore them.
Right. That makes more sense.
Oppressive. I don't know.
Oppressive and impressive?
Maybe. But you know what? About a little bit through this track, I could start hearing some soul music vibes. A little bit of like kind of soul composition.
I kind of pick up some more like Mume vibes. We mentioned Mume last week. Yeah. And like Album Leaf.
Does a cool like detune thing in the riff. You notice
that was sick.
Did you like that?
That's a guitar move.
Yeah. So while he's playing the lead listener, he's kind of doing some thing and goes with his right hand and detunes the note.
That's like the kind of thing like where if he did that at like a live show and I was like standing next to you, I'd probably like give you like a little
elbow.
Yeah, I'd give you a little elbow or something.
A little tortoisey in here.
Yeah, a little tortoisey for sure.
Slow burn.
This is another favorite of mine. Like the second and the fourth one are my two favorites.
I do right here. I do enjoy this. This is pretty well done.
Yeah.
Like there's some stuff going on here, listener. I think that this is one you listen to all the records that we review, but this one is definitely one that you should pay a little closer attention to.
Yeah.
I don't know like who would. I think I have another question here. We got to save this question for the next one. I'm sorry, for the next record because it compares the two.
Okay. If you like post rock and if you like ambient music, if you like low, you'd probably like this music.
Yeah, Low, Godspeed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of really, really interesting things. Joe Satriani.
There's a little
Like
bit.
there's a little bit of like
it gets a little kind of like
it gets a little like
techie.
guitar techie virtuoso. It'd be good on a video game soundtrack
Totally.
or like something like that.
Yeah.
There's some cool like pads. It's kind of goth.
You kind of got the
At the end, there's more movements here at the end too.
right by this time I'm just like I'm still in like my noir like private investigator mood.
My next note here is solemn.
Yeah.
My next note here is very solemn. It's
Yeah.
just solemn.
It's
It's intense.
Yeah.
It feels intense, but I don't think, like I said, it was impressive or oppressive, and maybe what I mean is intense, but it doesn't feel intense like in a bad way. Like it feels like a comforting intense.
Yeah, it's just like emotional, and but like I don't know, it's one of those things where like music, it becomes more of like a visceral kind of like physical experience in a way.
Do you think this music is like meant for headphones?
Yeah, for sure.
I had that feeling. There's a couple things that came in, and I was like, I think this is probably like meant totally
Yeah.
for headphones.
But it would have been even better for headphones if there would have been again like some sub bass or something in these songs.
Yeah, I listened out on the porch for a second when I was outside, and I unplugged it just so I could talk, and it was like, this is not working on a phone whatsoever.
Yeah, I think this would be like interesting music to have like some dancing to. Like some interpretive dance kind of thing.
Oh,
like
okay.
Kind of like what's that thing at Wealthy Theater? The lights.
Oh, the
Break the light.
yeah.
Or something.
I got rejected by them once.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I submitted a solo guitar thing.
Dang.
That was just a little thing, and they just didn't give it. They wanted like band. They wanted like
They're like, oh, we want Charles the Osprey again.
My thing was literally like
That's okay. I love
like,
Charles the Osprey.
Like I wrote this thing that was literally for like a solo dancer to be like.
Mm-hmm.
About. So
right.
like it's Ben's dance.
Ben's dance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that song is
Nice.
It's written for solo dance.
Nice.
So maybe someday we'll put that out.
I love that. Someday.
Yeah. What else, man?
I don't really have.
Do you have anything
much
else on this
for
track?
that song? Yeah.
Yeah. So listener, if you've been rejected too, it's okay. We all get rejected.
I've been rejected many times.
It's fun.
I was rejected for this podcast once. Julio was like, hey, let's start a podcast, you and I. And I was like, cool, I'm in. He's like, no.
Yeah, I changed my mind. I was like, you know what? Never mind. This music keeps me guessing.
Yeah, this next one, Reptile Mind, is kind of spooky.
We didn't even get into it. Reptile Mind keeps me guessing.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting that I have not really experienced that much with a lot of the stuff we reviewed, where I kind of don't know where this is going to go, and it keeps kind of taking me for surprise.
This song especially, for sure. Just to be like how it comes in and then how it progresses too.
Mm-hmm. It's a note that I had in the back of my mind, but I didn't bother writing it down to the song. Like it really like does some weird, interesting stuff. Is this the last track on the record?
This is the last track.
So this record is so much different than the next one we're going to review.
It's very different.
But it's in the same realm a little bit. Spoiler alert. This one really, really keeps me guessing.
Yeah. This especially this last song too is just like really I felt like a lack of cohesiveness with this one.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite song. I have This is the worst song on the album. Interesting ending, and then I have Wow. So I don't know what that means. I think the wow is this overall rating of the record.
I have my last note was very cinematic, so maybe you felt that something similar to that. Like
I felt like it was definitely for movies. It had this kind of Twin Peaksy. You said Carpenter. It has it really has a whole thing going on here that is bigger than what I think.
And it's just two guys.
Yeah. I wonder why they didn't go as like a name. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
That they went by just their Christian names and that's it. Maybe because of notoriety in other fields.
Yeah, or maybe this was just like they're not trying to make a thing. They're just like, hey, we both make music. Here's this.
I don't like the way this album ends. I don't like this song. Interesting ending, but I don't like the whole song as a whole.
It's not the strongest ending.
How do you feel about these being all one long thing? Do you think it would have been cooler chopping it up maybe as like, because the songs are so long, you know?
I think they work, but I think like there's just, I don't know. I'm okay with long songs, but I think there might have been like it's hard to differentiate each song. So maybe if they were more different.
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't even hate like like where it's like this song's called blah 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 and it's like part 1, part 2, part 3 or something that
Yeah.
But maybe they just kind of rely on you to know when a new movement comes in. You know, it's not telling. It's not like in movies they tell you here's act 1, here's act 2. If you watch a lot of movies or a lot of TV, you sense it. Like I know sometimes when Cassie and I take breaks, you know, we'll be like, that's the end of act 1.
Exactly. Yep.
Let's go to the store now or whatever. Let's go upstairs or whatever. Go to bed and watch this later. This record does very similar things to like that. It's very cinematic.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
overall really good. Very surprising.
I was kind of expecting kind of just like a vanilla, another like instrumental guitar record, and I was really taken aback by it.
Yeah. Do we have full liner notes on it? Do you have that available?
All it says is just like, you know, instruments played, the instruments that each person played.
Who recorded it?
Our friend Matt Tenclay.
No kidding.
Of Amberlit Studios.
Hey, good job, Matt. That's great.
Matt, you did a really nice job.
A little more bass in there, but good job for what you were given.
Right. Yeah, no El Double on this.
Do you think Matt listens to our show? I bet he does not.
Absolutely not. No.
Do you think he's worried about us talking about him? Is that why?
Probably.
Yeah. I was wondering. I was like, because Matt, like sometimes, I mean, I could be overbearing, but he had texted me the other day and like just randomly in the morning too, and for some reason I was like, I wonder if Matt listens to my show. Like we're pretty close friends, you know.
Yeah.
If Matt made a show, I'd be all over listening to it. You know what I mean?
We should have him as a guest. That would be so.
Yeah, you know what I was
good.
thinking would be a great maybe Patreon exclusive is we sit down with all the producers in town and have a talk with them. Me and you, when we go to their studio, bring our little live stream setup and do a little video there.
If your name is Jupiter Jones,
yeah, and if you know what Jupiter Jones is, weird.
We are chomping at the bit trying to figure this out.
I think we can get a bounty going,
right?
You know.
Yeah, let's get him on a milk carton and be like...
Let's get him on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Let's make Jupiter Jones t-shirts, and then they'll have to sue us.
Yeah. Who should be like the... What mugshot should we use for it?
I don't know. Anything. The worst drawing.
I'm thinking, like, now that we're talking about Twin Peaks, like, having the image of Bob.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of that. This whole record makes me think of Twin Peaks. It makes me think of, like, 80s 90s noir.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Next Generation, it kind of fits in there. Yes. It really does.
TNG.
Overall, pretty good.
Yeah. Let's give it a rating.
My rating is, you know, like when you're like organizing and you come across an old box and you open the box.
Yeah.
And it's full of a thing.
Yeah.
Old notes.
Okay.
Old letters.
Nice.
Either you gave to somebody or got back that you gave to somebody.
Gotcha.
And they're old. That's what this record is.
I'm gonna
a box of old letters.
I'm gonna say, finding a burnt CD on the ground on the floor of like a school bus, but it's like a burnt CD of like Master of Puppets.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
This is like a major work, actually.
Yeah.
Is there more music by this group?
I don't think so. I think they do music individually.
Okay.
But I think this is their first collaborative album.
Wow. Great stuff.
Great job, guys.
So, thank you for submitting. Do you want to take a short break and come back?
Yeah, let's do it.
Listener, thank you for watching and or listening.
Listener.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can't.
We
don't have smell-o-vision yet.
Yeah.
You can't really reach out and touch us yet. We might have some other tiers of Patreon where you can get a handshake.
Easy.
You get one handshake a month.
One handshake. Yeah.
Is that prostitution?
I mean,
I think there's a reasonable case for that being prostitution.
Yeah. What's the age of consent for a handshake?
I remember one time some friends of mine like set up a kissing booth somewhere and they like got shut down because it was prostitution. Yeah. I was like in high school. They like did kissing booth and they're like, you can't do that.
I mean,
you can't
that was probably the right decision to shut that down.
You can't do a kissing booth. That never occurred to me that it might be considered prostitution.
They're like, what is this, Happy Days?
Yeah,
Get out of here.
The red light district? Yeah, what is going on here? You're not going to want to do this.
Yeah, who's the pimp here?
Yeah.
Come on.
It was my friends.
Yeah, it was you.
Flossing.
And welcome back.
Welcome back yourself.
This is Band Scams episode 16.
1-6.
1-6.
Our podcast can legally drive.
We can legally drive.
Yep.
And we've been illegally driving.
We have been driving ourselves up a wall.
Yeah.
With local West Michigan music.
That's right.
We probably listen now to more local music than anybody.
Yeah.
I think Dice was there.
Right.
I think Dice has been a little out of the loop because I think he might have required a lot on the live show. Maybe not, though. Dice, if you're listening, send us an email at bandscams@gmail.com and prove us wrong.
Does Dice have email?
I don't know.
No, he must because he has a Facebook, and you have to have an email for Facebook.
Do you think he has you borrow someone's email? Can I borrow your email for Facebook?
Yeah, is his name actually Jeff Martin, or is he just like using Jeff Martin's email?
We don't know.
We don't know, and that's what we're here to find out.
That we don't know, that we want to know.
That's our new podcast. We're called Dice Scamps.
Dice Scamps. Dice would be a great contributor to this show.
That'd be great.
We're here. It's part 2.
Part 2
of our weekly podcast.
That's right. We do live stream recaps every weekend after the episode.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this one on the following Friday or Saturday, usually Fridays, we're going to have these artists up, and we have yet another release to talk about.
That's right.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Are you
ready? This one was submitted to us not too long ago. It is another record that just came out, I believe, right?
Yes, on the same day, May 7th.
Wow. That's pretty incredible.
That's kind of messed, honestly.
Messed?
Yeah.
Messed up?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to decode your slang. You're so hip. You're so hip sometimes that I don't even know what you're saying.
I know.
This one is by Eli Kahn.
Eli Kahn is called How Are You?
How are you?
No, really.
No, really.
How are you?
How are you? So, right off the bat, can I do a first impression?
Let's do it. Let's get right into it.
This reminds me a lot of like Tobias Funke.
Yeah. So
How are you?
Holy shit. I did not even think about that.
So not only that, but Tobias Funke reminds me, I had a professor in college who would do that. He'd be like, how are you? You know, like it would be, and you'd be like, I'm fine.
This also makes me, now that you say this, it also makes me think of Johnny Bruja.
Oh yeah, he does a real,
that, right?
Yeah, and so this album, I think, right off the bat, is asking us that question.
Yeah, how are we?
Yeah. I just have like, sounds like Tobias Funke, and I had a director that
this is like a true like quarantine record, and that's what
is it?
Yeah, this is like what it's like in the liner notes, which we'll get to later.
Okay,
but it does say like this music was written like during the quarantine.
Okay, good. I got a double full disclosure. Full disclosure, I did not read the liner notes. I'm off them.
Yeah,
I'm off liner notes.
Yeah,
I feel betrayed.
He's on the patch now, the liner notes patch.
I'm off the notes. So I don't know when this was recorded, when this was made, but I kind of figured it was made last year.
Right.
Also, full disclosure, I've heard Eli Kahn's music before. I booked him once.
Okay. Him or After Hours?
Him.
Okay.
Eli Kahn. I booked an Eli Kahn Brandino show at Harmony last year.
That's a good combo.
It was great. I booked that last year before the pandemic.
Okay.
So I am familiar with this music and maybe some of these songs, maybe not.
Gotcha.
But at least the genre. So
Yeah.
and also we're internet buddies.
It's a full
So full disclosure, like
moment.
I've got a lot of internet friends, and he's one that has been chiming in. I think since he's probably been promoting this and working on it, I've been seeing less of him online. But now he's kind of popping back up again.
He chimed in a little bit on one of our live streams.
Okay.
I think we were talking about maybe Woots or Earth Radio.
It might have been. I think it might have been that singles episode.
Yeah.
He chimed in, which is awesome. I mean, hey Eli, if you're watching right now,
thanks.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah.
How cool would it be to not watch the review, to like submit it and be like, never watched it, bro?
That's like a power move.
Let's see.
Let's see.
You Eli, you're welcome to turn this off at any point.
Yes.
And we can dive right in.
Yeah.
Let's go into album artwork.
Let's do it.
So I'm going to pretend that I'm looking at it. This is like a photo collage-y thing, or maybe it's all just photo
with
face.
like
flowers,
bouquet in front of the face, like kind of like Magritte or whatever.
So right away, I kind of feel like this is going to be a solo record. I feel like it's a person, and it's a very nice quality, great art.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah, we'll read credits at the end, but that real nice job on here. So you want to jump right into the music?
Yes. So before first impressions,
let's do it.
I will say
tier zero.
Tier zero.
Tier S impressions. What is it?
Yeah, this is where I was at. I was thinking knowing the kind of music After Hours makes and knowing.
Okay. I don't know that band.
It's kind of like hip hop jazz thing, and I feel like hip hop jazz kind of thing has it can either be really well done, kind of like in the Y sense, or it could be Christian.
Yeah.
Do you
mean so it's got kind of a funky groove, kind of loungy?
Yeah, it could easily go into Weather Channel, vanilla territory.
I guess just for me and you, not listener, just does this sound like After Hours, this music? Does it sound like their music a little bit?
Here's the thing is I don't actually know After Hours sounds like. I just know the kind of music they've described their music as.
Okay, so that helps. That's fine. That's fair. So okay.
So I had kind of low expectations coming into this.
Okay.
And
how'd you listen? Headphones?
Headphones.
Same. I don't know. I wrote headphones here just as a note.
So then, so it goes in, and it turns out to be kind of this lo-fi hip hop kind of thing. Yeah, kind of. This first song is more ambient,
mellow,
album leaf kind of thing.
Mellow electronic.
Yeah, math.
I have jazzy influence, obvious jazzy influence.
Kind of mathy emo guitar lines a little bit. There's a lot of kind of what is it, fluttery kind of, a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs.
It's a pretty easy-going kind of repetitive thing I have written here. Loops,
for sure.
And I know when I saw Eli, when I booked him, he did utilize loops and drum beat stuff, like pre-programmed kind of beat drums. And I don't know how much of that's happening here, but I think even if I hadn't known that, I think I would have gotten a bit of loopiness to this.
Yeah. Something about the mixing felt off on this one.
I think I may have some mixing notes on here. I will listen to on headphones as well later.
Interesting.
So that's my very, very, very next line.
Wow.
There's some harshness that comes in.
I have harsh tones.
Is that your very next line?
Yes.
I have some harshness turning down.
Me too. And then my next note is song could probably have been cut in half.
Yeah. I think that this is a good introduction to what's going to be happening here. So
yes,
in that regards, I don't really want to say much like too much more on that, because I think what I'm saying is pretty much all extensions of mixing notes. And I just say I think I have the mixing notes. So
yes,
fair enough.
Same. Yeah, I think the rest of my notes are just going to kind of bleed into each other, just because they're kind of the same thing for every song.
It's a pretty flowy album, overall. So let me get a couple things off the bat. I do think that this is a good listen, but I think I'm going to be a little picky with this one myself too, only because I'm familiar with their work.
Yeah,
I already know, and I already liked what I'd heard.
Yeah,
and so I'm interested to hear them kind of back up their dissertation a little bit here.
For sure, yeah, they're a pretty highly regarded artist. I think
there's some hype. There's some hype around this person. Right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Bandcamp, you can see how many people have purchased it or support it, or whatever.
Sure.
And there's a lot of support on this album.
They got a great little thing going.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And so that's cool. They submitted, and I think I do have a lot of nitpick going on here. So it might be nitpicky.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I have here is I do have repetitive written twice.
Yeah.
And repetitive. And I wonder if that is a artifacting from the loop situation, or how they play or whatever. But it does have this little bit of repetitive thing for a first track that I kind of wish it was a little bit stronger. But
yeah,
but maybe we can just
it's only the first track, so we don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know, and viewer, I think that we're pretty clear that we kind of go track by track, and we've kind of been criticized and praised for that. But I think track for track is the only way we can do it. It happens sequentially. So you want to go to track 2?
Let's do it. Lost in Space.
Lost in the Sauce?
Oh, no, Lost in the Sauce.
Lost in the Sauce.
First song is called Acceptance, by the way. And then Lost in the Sauce, not Lost in Space. I'm sorry.
So here I have obvious trip hop influence. And I think you kind of this might be another genre discussion, right?
Yeah.
Where because we get into this, and I think some people are kind of hesitant to the genre, but we got to talk about it somehow. So like what you're calling jazzy hip hop or
yeah,
whatever,
the lo-fi hip hop beats.
I'm just calling trip hop.
Okay.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I wonder if this gentleman is of the age where trip hop is going to be used. Like, what does he call his music? You know,
I see. I don't know if this is like. I think trip hop to me has a more like, I guess like complexity to it, and maybe a more electronic element to it. And here I'm getting still more of that, just kind of like jazzy kind of thing.
It's fusion.
Yeah.
Right. I think we can agree there. It's some sort of fusion.
Yeah.
But
and especially with trip hop, like the drums are like a really big deal or big part of it. And here, I think the drums are like kind of take like the back seat a lot, especially with mixing.
You might be right. So I have as far as mixing, let's go. That's a great segue.
Yeah.
This does sound better. This sounds better than track 1.
I don't know yet. I kind of think I'm hung up.
Are you
on,
like hesitant to
yeah,
accept?
like the drums are like I think I was really just like I think the drums are just like kind of poorly mixed in this one.
There's a plethora of mixing issues, and I don't know how to fix what's going on here. But anyway, I do think it sounds better than track 1. It's a short jam.
Yeah.
You know who it also reminds me of? Air.
Yes, I can see that for sure.
This track especially. I think that this one especially gets pushed into this kind of like grooviness that is not necessarily like lo-fi hip hop, you know?
Right, yeah. It has more of that
and maybe that's where I'm getting the trip hopness is I'm thinking of a specific kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I think that like fans of like chill music are going to enjoy this.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, this is very like accessible music. It's like very pleasant listen. It's got like a nice melody, you know, but it's got like a consistent beat, you know, that's not it's not asking much of the listener.
I think again at the end there's a little bit more jazz influence coming into it at the end. They did everything themselves, I'm assuming.
I'm
pretty
guessing,
much.
I'm guessing just again like more as like it becomes more apparent to me as the album goes on that like this was probably maybe like mixed by him.
Right. Yeah. So
we'll confirm that with the liner notes.
And then barring anything there are, I think, some guest appearances on here later, it sounds like, but I think it's mostly them.
Yeah.
Mostly Eli. So, let me think here. As a multi-instrumentalist, they're leaning into a lot of different, like, expressional pieces that they themselves play. Like, there's a keyboard part, there's a guitar part, there's, like, some drum programming or some kind of drums.
Yeah.
But it's all coming from one person, you know?
Right.
That's hard to do. You know, but people do it all the time.
Right.
They do it.
Yeah, it's hard to like really find like especially with like programming drums, or it's really hard to find that groove without it feeling like too quantized or feeling too sloppy.
What you don't see all the time is the person that does this kind of music and also performs it live by themselves.
Right.
So this might be another situation where like some of the live things they do are really coming into the record, like for better or worse.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think I do have that kind of privy information of like, okay, I know that there's looping pedals being used and like stuff like that or whatever. It kind of has that aesthetic and feel this whole time.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I noticed you here that my volume is low because of the song before. I turned my headphones down, so I turned it back up.
Gotcha. So you're back at like unity gain now.
I'm back there. I'm back there.
He's back.
You got anything else about this track?
No.
Okay. This one is called Take a Walk on the Mild Side.
Boom, 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 boom.
Nice little jam here.
This is kind of like
probably the lead single.
Yeah, this is like a more kind of like neo soul kind of vibe.
Sure. Neo soul, I think R&B.
Yeah.
And I think that this song is kind of like it kind of like reinforces some of the R&B that we might have not noticed in the first couple tracks, you know?
Yep.
I think I heard this before. I think I've heard it online
Gotcha.
or I've heard it on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
We're social media friends. Just the main riff.
At the same time, though, the main riff, like, it wasn't, like, leady enough. Like, I didn't go away with it, like, feeling like it had, like, a lead element.
No, I think it's doing more like the lead guitar in a hip hop song.
Yeah.
Where it's like it almost sounds like it's a sample, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
But it is the source material. But
Right.
it's trying to sound like it's doing this thing where it's doing like the hip hop sound, but you're creating it instead of like sampling something and making it sound hip hop. You record the thing, and it is that kind of hip hop. It's very, very hip hop inspired.
Yeah.
Very, very much so.
I do wish they had some vocals though.
Sure. I was just saying it'd be great like sampled or something, you know?
Yeah,
like,
even like a sample vocal would be sweet.
well, I understand it being non-vocal, but like I could see this being like used in a hip hop track, you know, as the backbone. It's like a little summer jam.
Yeah.
I feel like some of the modulation was a little odd on it. I don't know exactly what specifically I meant, but there was like some modulation maybe on the guitar or on the keyboard that I was kind of like, I don't know if I agree with what's going on with some of those keyboards.
Yeah. I don't remember that, but I'm not surprised by that.
There was a lot of keyboardy things that I was like kind of monically about this whole time.
I love that.
This was a loop.
This was a loop.
Right?
Yeah, this is like loop music.
I said I did not really like that ending.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's just very like unremarkable in that way.
I think you could tell it was just like chop it before it gets bad, you know?
Exactly.
I thought you wouldn't like it.
Yeah, it was just I had nothing. You know, it's just
Right.
like, it was just there.
This is the jam though. This is kind of the lead single.
Yeah, this
and
is
I think it's actually pretty fun, you know.
and a good spot for like a single too.
Perfect.
You
It's
know?
a perfect spot for it. So well done on that. And I think good job identifying like, oh, this might be the jam.
Right.
So listener and you, I'm kind of like a little mediocre on this album at this
Me
point.
too.
At this point. And I do want to say to anyone who's like, oh, they're kind of being harsh, I want to say personally, this kind of turns around for me. Maybe I think starting around this point, actually.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
It turns around me in like the opposite way, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay. I think this album has a really, really weak start.
Interesting.
Like really, really weak compared to what I think it ends up going. And has a very, very mild start. So I don't know.
Interesting.
You want to go to Pushing Through.
I mean, like he's really nailing like the vibiness. You know,
It's vibey.
It's all vibey. You know, which is great. But I'm really getting hung up on like how like weak the drums are in these songs.
Is it like distracting you?
Yeah, and like it's just like they're mixed, I think, poorly, or they're just like they're just so secondhand. I feel like it's really, you know, he wrote these like guitar parts or key parts or whatever, and then the drums were thrown in. They're in time, but they're just kind of like sitting in the background, and like they're not allowing me to like. They're not providing me like a groove.
Right. The groove is all coming from the guitar, so they're kind of working around this. So like I kind of like how these drums are sitting, and they're kind of sitting in the pocket, and they're kind of just like here's the nod like groove, and then you have a guitar kind of accentuating. I kind of like it. So I think we're gonna be a little split on that.
Yeah.
Honestly, this does have utilizes. Do you know what the riff is? Or the lick?
Yeah.
Da 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 da. Is that what the whole main riff is?
I think you're right.
Da 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 da.
Yeah.
It's in like 4,000 songs.
Right.
Da 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 da. And that's just from memory. I'm not even sure if that's where right.
I know you're talking about
the lick.
Yeah, the lick.
So it's a trope, and so here's where I'm like, is this intentionally tropey and poking fun at it, or is it trying to pass off like oh man, that sounds cool? And like it does sound cool. It's also in like every song.
I kind of think it was probably just unintentional. It just kind of probably just happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope it's intentional and it's like a play on it. So that's a good recap question.
I think I was expecting more bass like stuff on this album because I think I know him more. I envision him more with like a bass in his hand, and so like,
I believe he's a guitar player.
Gotcha. So I think maybe that was just a misunderstanding on my part.
Maybe no, I believe he's a guitar player.
Gotcha.
I believe it's jazz guitar and like kind of like emo-y, mathy, kind of instrumentally.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a guitar player.
Gotcha.
So you might not have a lot of guitar notes on here then about that.
I know. I do have.
Cool.
A lot of guitar stuff.
Great. I think here, speaking of guitar, we can talk about instruments used.
Yeah.
You know, there's some keys, drums, guitar, bass.
That's about it.
What is like? There's like a xylophone thing. Just keyboard, you think?
Yeah, just keyboard. I think.
You don't think it's actual xylophone or marimba or anything?
Maybe. I mean, at this point, like, I don't know. I'm kind of like feeling like this is all gonna sound the same to me.
Okay, fine. Well, I
Yeah.
have detailed notes here, so
Yeah.
I do like this part of this song. Like I like the kind of like it has another one of these like augmented like major pentatonic that sounds almost like Eastern, like Asian, or like specifically like Chinese music. You know, I do like that. The keys here start to get to me, some of the key tones, you know, and I think I lumped that xylophone as like being not keyboard, but if it is, you know, that one is successful. I said I like this so far. I like this music though, so far.
Yeah.
I do think that like I end up liking it more after this part.
Gotcha.
You want to go track 5?
Yeah. Stepping into
Stepping.
the unknown.
Okay. Very short.
Yeah. Again, for me, it's just like more of the same.
Really?
Yeah.
This one I think was much different. I have very short, but it's mysterious. This one has a Twin Peaks vibe as well to me.
Gotcha. I don't know. I think it was just like I'm hearing the same like tones,
Okay.
you know, and it's just like I'm not feeling like any kind of like exploration yet.
Oh boy. Okay. I don't think it all sounds the same. It does sound repetitive, you know, and maybe that's what you're not liking here.
I can deal with repetitiveness. I just think like it's just like not like the genre necessarily, but it's just like the same like guitar tone, same key tone, same drum tone.
Okay. You want to go to track 6?
Yeah. In my dreams we levitate.
Okay. I like the beat on this one.
I like this one actually.
Yeah.
This one actually has some variation, and I was like, this is really nice.
There's some strings.
There's some strings.
There's like, is it saxophone or is it just strings? I feel like I heard sax too, but I wonder if it was just the strings.
I kind of thought it was sax too, though. I think you and I are. I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you read the liner notes for this?
I did, but I can't remember.
Okay.
What's up with the acoustic though in the song?
I don't have any note about the acoustic.
It's like
what was going on with that.
It's like DI or something.
Really?
Yeah, it had that DI sound.
I think this whole thing has
it does
DI sound.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of sounds like, I don't know.
It's got like that flat EQ.
It needs
you know?
another mix on the mix. It really, really does.
Yeah, it was suffering from that like kind of DI acoustic sound that we ran into with Moto.
I do like it. I like this.
Me too, though. Like like the actual, but the music is actually really good in this one.
So you said that it was kind of sounding the same to you. And here I do have, this definitely is more cinematic. This definitely has more feeling than what we were just listening to. And I think maybe that's what you're responding to is that it did feel the earlier stuff feels a little bit hollow, you know? And I didn't like the use of the lick being like, okay. Like,
yeah, by this song, I'm like, okay, he's like switching it up a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. More cinematic. Like, I don't mean because it's like more solemn, because the song is definitely more solemn.
Right.
It just has more emotion in it.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. And like, I feel like that came up again with something. Even I think Blushing Monk with emotion. Someone on our Discord was like, "Oh, you didn't feel like emotional during this part?" And I was like, I don't remember ever feeling that way. What else you got for this one?
That's it.
Yeah, I said I thought that was sax ? I don't know. So I'm confused. I can tell that I'm confused about whether I was listening to saxophone or strings.
Monocle.
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
Yeah.
You want to go to track 7?
Yeah. The Reawakening.
The Reawakening. Go ahead, take the lead on this one.
This one, man, I'm still like running into like mixing issues for this. Like I'm just like not. It's really distracting for me.
Really?
Yeah, it's really taking me out of it.
It bothered me too, but I think I was able to like resign myself to like don't harp on that, because how many times can I say it? You know,
right?
But you're right.
But at the same time, like if it's preventing me from like listening to the music, like that's like then I have to like keep on bringing it up.
Yeah,
you know. So like I was able to kind of like get out of it because I do the outro of this one was really nice.
Okay. There was more. It was moody, but it kind of had like an uplift, which I really like. And I right here. This is where I write. I enjoy this more. I hear it. So even though I said that already,
yeah.
This is where I actually am like. I'm like, you know what? I am enjoying this music the more I hear it.
Yeah.
So I really like it overall. I think it has a really oddly weak start, and I don't know why. And I think this happened like with a couple records we've done where it has such an oddly weak start where it's like, why did you put all the good stuff later?
Right.
You
We
know?
had that with like Silent Spirit. Like that hidden track was like the best song.
Silent Spirit. I feel like some of Sugar Tone Noise Company
Yeah,
where it was like
that's right.
halfway through. It was like, here's the good songs.
Yeah. Like, oh, now.
Yeah. So maybe that's happening here. There's some texture that's getting better. It's sounding a little better. It's like sounding better, you know. I have here make Dan talk about effects. I'm not sure what I meant. Maybe some of was there like some effects on the guitar that he was using?
Probably. I think I might have some notes later on that, but I can't remember.
There's definitely a lot of modulation on the guitar.
Something, yeah.
There's definitely like an attempt to like make it sound different than how a guitar normally sounds, which I appreciate.
I do appreciate, but I think he missed the mark a lot with the guitar tone with this.
The tone is a little bit odd as recorded.
I have some ending notes about the whole guitar.
The playing's good.
He's very talented. Like
it's great playing. It's
very
tasteful.
clear, yeah.
And that becomes really apparent on the last track. The playing is really
very
good. But I was hoping for more guitar playing. You know what I mean? I think this record is really guitar light for someone who's known as a guitar player.
I think for me,
or maybe that's me misunderstanding how they're represented. How they represent themselves.
I think I was expecting less guitar and more like variation instruments, just because of like the jazz influences. You know, like I thought maybe they would be able to incorporate other elements that like you wouldn't necessarily hear in guitar music, you know. This
music kind of lives, and the one man band approach lives in a really sellable spot, you know. You can play a show anywhere.
Right.
Eli could come right here and stand here and play.
He could be right here right now if he's vaccinated.
But he can do a massive arena show or a festival. Right. You know what I mean? And so there is this thing where like, oh, the one-man band thing is like, oh, that's already has its built-in level of cool if you can pull that off, you know? And I think Eli does that and is able to get by on that, you know, but I think that happens to a lot of artists, you know, especially locally. But what I was expecting was a little bit more of like guitar stuff on this.
Interesting.
And that happens at the end, like I said, but it doesn't really like get there, you know, with the guitar stuff.
Yeah.
But really nice contemplative feel, especially on this one here.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really nice.
Yeah, that's all I have for that song.
Okay. The next one's called How Are You?
Hey, how are you?
This is the title track.
This is it.
Another contemplative feel on here.
It's got that kalimba, which I'm all about.
As a what?
The kalimba, you know, like the little thumb piano thing. I think that's what that is.
I don't know. Marimba?
I think marimba is more with like the with mallets or something.
I have no fucking idea, dude.
I don't know, man.
This is another like pentatonic scale modulated. Kind of sounds a little Floydy, a little bit Pink Floyd.
A little bit.
It has like a little bit more of like Eastern feel of it, and it's just the like some of the pentatonic scale. Like when you change where the root of that is, you start getting into like different cultural music. I think there's a lot of that on here that I think is actually done really tastefully. Like, I think it's almost a little bit new agey.
Sure.
You know, I think both this record and the last one we did are both kind of new age music. In a way.
Yeah.
This one gets there. And like I said, listener, like I start to like this more. So I'm noticing more things about it. They're like, that's actually really smart, really tasteful, you know?
Interesting, yeah. Gotcha. This, like, I'm just really getting hung up on that guitar tone. Mm-hmm. And it's like, again, it's getting distracting for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think anyone really has a guitar tone. So that, even though like it can bother me, his playing is, if it was a tone and he was playing bad, I'd be like, no thanks. Gotcha. You know, like,
I think for me, like, when I hear good playing and it's like in poor tone, it's like a disservice to like the playing.
Okay, with that last record, that you wouldn't like the guitar tone that much in any of that record.
Yeah.
So why are you? I feel like you're looking at that more favorably than this.
Because the guitar, like the last album was more encompassing of composition. Okay. Here, like the guitar is like the star.
See, I think the guitar is less featured on this than it is on the last record we did on the John Bailey and Matt record. Okay, so that's all I have for track 8.
Yeah, that's all I have too.
It's kind of mellow. Mm-hmm. Interesting choice for the name of the title. Maybe that came first, but whatever. Track 9 is called "Ripples on the Water."
This one bangs.
Yeah, this one's all over the place in a good place.
I was like, this is like the track I've been waiting for this whole time.
I agree. More guitar.
Yeah, I was pumped. I was like, finally.
R&B,
Yeah.
kind of post rock.
Yep.
You know, I think you and I both being guitar players, this kind of music is going to be exciting for us. I wanted more of this.
Me too. I literally said, where has this been the whole album?
Okay, so when I say that I think this album gets better, I think it's a slow burn from starting at the lead single or whatever,
Right.
and then it dips for a second, and then it kind of comes back. And so maybe it's just that first track. The mixing is terrible on that first track, and I wonder how much of that is like, oh, if that was mixed better, we wouldn't notice the imperfections later on. You know?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't disagree that it's mixed bad.
Yeah, I think a lot of these songs I probably would have been more on board with had the mixing been done better.
Yeah, like I don't like really disagree that it's mixed bad, but like
Yeah.
I don't know. R&B, post rock, there's some emo in here.
Exactly.
This is nice music.
This is good music.
This track is good. That's what I have. This is good music. This would be good in a film score.
Yep.
This is kind of new agey. It's a nice feel. This is a nice little song.
I finally it's to me this one was like, oh, he he trudged through all this and he made mistakes, but he right here he got there.
Yeah, this track gets there. This should have been track one.
This should have been track one.
Track one.
Just like start me off the banger, give me pumps.
Track one, make your track two your lead single,
Yeah.
and then the last track on here is great.
I think
and I think that is there one or two after this, because there's
just the one.
Okay, so we're in this second to last one.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I can tell, and so maybe even the strength of this record is making me be like, I like this record because of this song.
Yeah, maybe it's one of those things where like the first few songs were like written towards the beginning of quarantine, and then like he kind of like honed his craft a little bit, and then like these were like the more like later ones he wrote.
People make that's a hard decision to make of where the songs go, you know.
Album order is tough, guys.
So I don't blame anybody for getting that wrong.
Yeah,
nice little song.
Yeah,
this is a jammer
for sure.
Good for playlists. I think this should be probably the second single of whatever.
Yeah.
You want to go on? Do you have anything else about this track 9?
Mm-mm.
Track 10 is called Cosmic Garden.
It's a great song name.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. This is another very lead guitar focus. This is lead. Here's where when you were talking about lead, this is what I think you're looking for, right?
Yep. Exactly.
It's voiced.
Yep.
It's emotional. It's emotive. It's flashy.
Yeah, it's like singy.
There's some flashy, like chromatic-y upsteps and fast little turnarounds that are just like,
very happy with it.
Right. This is what I thought this record was going to be more of.
Me too. And so, yeah, I'm really glad that the record ended on like two really high notes.
Yeah. There's some flashy stuff. I'd love to see it pushed more, you know?
Yeah.
And this makes me think about my own guitar playing or guitar players that I like, or even like the Moto record we did. Like that has some flashiness to it that was like impressive, you know?
Very impressive.
And this is impressive too, but I'm like, well, was it just being all saved for this last couple songs?
Right.
Or are these, maybe you said, these are the newer ones, these are the newest songs? I don't know if anyone's ever going to ever get stuff like that, though, right?
I don't think so. I think it's probably just more like a guitarist thing, maybe, or just a band scamps thing. I don't know. Like I think, but by this time, like the ending song, I'm like glad it's like ending on like a catchy note. Like I'm vibing to it, but I feel kind of like some, I don't know, like remorse or something. You know, I feel like a little disappointed by the record.
Interesting.
Because I think like just knowing what I hear about Eli, like I think I was really expecting. So I had high expectations.
That's what I was just going to ask you, was expectations.
I had high expectations, and I think I was a little disappointed by like the lack of variation in like the instrument choices and like, and just like the tone of the guitar. It felt like the wah was on the whole time. Like it was very that kind of like nasally, kind of like mid pop or whatever. And
Sure.
It really I don't know.
I'm gonna say I half disagree with you. I don't entirely disagree with you, but just about half disagree with you. I think this is a good mix of songs from someone as a if they're like solo, you know, because After Hours is like their main gig, right?
Yeah.
And this is kind of like the split off. I think it does get there, but I feel like it kind of held itself back on a lot of stuff, or maybe chased some ideas that weren't all that cool, or that were just whatever. I do have here very smooth.
Very smooth.
This mix is not the best.
Nope.
And that's my biggest gripe on this record, besides some of the audio stuff in the beginning. It's sort of repetitive, But what it's doing is very nice and chill, so I'm forgiving this a bit.
Yeah, I think I was maybe expecting something a little more like virtuosic in a way, and it's kind of vanilla.
I think you're right.
You know?
And it shows that off in the end.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, look, that's kind of shitty though, because like we don't like things that are too show offy,
Right.
But we don't like it if it's not show offy enough. We're hard to please.
It's hard to, yeah.
That's fine. Make something that we're gonna like, and we will love it.
And, but when we do love it, the Discord hates us.
Right. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we can't win. We can't win over at Bandscamp. So I say this is kind of repetitive, but what it's doing is very nice and it's chill. So I'm forgiving of it. And really, that only happens in the first couple of songs. Overall, it's quite good. Like I think that overall, this record's really good.
Yeah.
I think there's a few songs in the beginning that are oddly placed that also are mixed bad and make me not kind of like it off the bat, or maybe made you not like it, you know?
Yeah, I think like overall, like the actual music is like well done. Yeah,
and I think sometimes like you need like a little bit of grace. Like you are asking your listener for some sort of grace, and you have to provide that with a good mix off the bat.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I like it though. I said overall quite good.
I mean I think like overall like it definitely gets there for me. Like even if I didn't really enjoy it, like I think like what it's trying to do, it does successfully. Like, and I think like I understand why he's popular and why people would like really gravitate towards this record, because it is like good.
Right.
But I think no music goes without any kind of criticism, you know.
I think there's more that we're going to hear from Eli, and this is not the last of it by any means. But I think there could be more, you know.
I mean, for a record that you wrote during quarantine, great job. That's awesome.
I don't have any quarantine records. We have one, but we recorded it way before quarantine.
Right.
You know. So overall, I think good, and I think it has a very weak start, and that's kind of monocle-y to me.
Yeah.
And then just push it, man.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to rating?
Rating. Let's let me think about here. I'm gonna give this. Actually, you go first. I need to think about this for a second.
Mine is a lava lamp that's been on for like hours and hours.
Okay.
Like a 6-hour lamp where you probably should turn it off, but you got people over.
I'm gonna give this one Campbell's soup.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Let's
I think this is good.
Notes.
I think this is good overall. I have some final words. I think this is a good release.
I think so too.
And compared to a lot of other music that tries to do this, especially locally, I don't like to have that qualifier, so I'm just going to toss it out anyway. But like making this kind of music in general is hard to have it be entertaining. And I actually did find myself nodding along a lot and enjoying it. And this was another record that I was setting up the studio here, so I was able to get that done and take notes and listen and enjoy it.
Nice.
So that's a testament too.
That's that's a success, I would say.
Not every man. I was watching. You know, this is way off topic, but I watched like one half, almost a whole 3/4 of a Fish set the other day from the 90s.
I saw you guys on the Discord.
Yeah, I watched it, and man, like that is music or whatever, but I like could not like have sex to it. You know, like, and that's something that I think about now with music is like, could I fuck to this music? And you know what? I could to Eli Kahn's music. I totally could.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know where that goes.
Yeah.
But like that's a whole thing
high
too.
Has anyone ever like told you they've had sex to your music?
I had one person tell me that they like tried to put on my music once to like impress a girl, and it worked.
Really?
Yeah.
I had one friend. She told me that she had sex to like a Little Village song, and I was like, yes.
Yeah. That's high praise, man. Not all music you can fuck to, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's like the ultimate compliment.
Yeah.
I think like if some people like have intercourse.
Yeah.
To your music.
Yep. That's high praise.
High praise.
Wow, praise from Skeezer.
Let's read some liner notes here for Eli Kahn. It was produced and engineered and written by Eli Kahn at the After Hours spot. It was mixed by Kevin Kozel and Eli Kahn at Third Coast Recording Studio and mastered by Ian Gorman at La Luna Recording and Sound. So I think that was a really surprising thing for me to read when having a lot of criticisms on the mix, because these are like, I think, pretty highly regarded like studios and producers.
Do you think like, so I'm going to throw this out. Do you think this is a Bandcamp thing, that it sounds bad on Bandcamp?
That's a great question. I don't
'Cause
know.
Did you buy this? Did you download this to listen to?
No.
Streaming. It's not on Spotify.
I don't think so.
And here's the thing. I looked up, does Bandcamp do any like type of audio adjustment?
Uh-huh.
And then Josh from the Planned Parenthood server sent me this thing, and they're like, no, we never adjust anything except for streaming.
Right.
So the streaming is literally has a different
Uh-huh.
thing. So I need to follow up on this with a hard copy.
Yeah.
And I've downloaded before, but like seriously, this article, it was like, no, Bandcamp, we never touch the audio.
Right.
Oh, unless you're just streaming it, then yeah, we do all this shit to it.
Right.
So,
Interesting.
but I don't think that's going to be mixing. I don't think that's a mixing thing. I
Yeah.
think most music sounds fine on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
So I don't, but you're right. That many ears on it, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of ears, and like they have a lot of like legit gear, and so maybe it's just a taste thing. It could just, maybe I just have different tastes in like what sounds good.
We should maybe listen to it on some other speakers too
Yeah.
and see what it sounds. I can even pop it up on the new monitors I got upstairs and
Yeah.
see what that sounds like. Yeah, I don't know.
Strings on Levitate, done by Jordan Hamilton. Which,
Word.
Yeah, which we heard on Earth Radio.
Buzzy
Yeah.
artists. They're
Mhm.
from like Kalamazoo as well. Around. I don't think it's Grand Rapids. I think they're from
I think Kalamazoo.
up
And then-
up and comer, big up and comer right now.
Album cover photograph by Austin Ho and Gotti Solis.
Okay.
Please correct me if I pronounce any of those names wrong. Apologies in advance. And beat programming on Cosmic Garden by ECSO. So
ECSO.
yeah, in all caps. So it's like an acronym for something.
Okay. Little mystery.
Yeah, maybe we'll find out on the live stream that we do every Friday.
Every Friday. So, do you have anything else you want to say about this? Do you think that here's one. Do you think these artists would like each other? Like, would you think that that John and Matt would like this Eli record?
I think so.
Do you think Eli would like their record?
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Mm-hmm.
This one is definitely more of a happy vibe.
Yeah.
I mean, or it's going for that at
Right.
least. I don't even think happy. I feel like that's like even a bad. It's more on the light side.
Yeah, it's just like it's not asking a lot from the listener. Where I think like with the Forest Floor, it there's like a little bit of like asking and be like this is kind of like experimental music, like
Right.
here it is,
And I think I don't know if I said, but I don't know if I would listen to the Forest Floor. But I think was better than this record.
Mhm.
But I would probably put this record on before I would put the other one on.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I guess depending on the mood, I think I definitely gravitate towards both of these. So I think like, depending on my mood, if I'm like in a chill mood, I could absolutely. If I'm more in a somber mood, I think I could put on
like
the Forest Floor.
I'm kind of looking at what if I was like doing a set of like chill trip hop stuff. I would put one of these songs on in a second as a break on Eli Kahn, mix one in,
Easy,
or
yeah.
even Forest Floor for like for some ambient stuff.
Sure.
Like I don't know. Overall, two very good records.
Yes, absolutely great job.
And I think like I'm being less nitpicky on the mixing and some of the issues of the Eli record, but overall, like we're kind of seeing eye to eye I think, on both of these,
Mhm.
and we both, I think they're both got the stamp of approval.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, none of them lived in the Unscampy Valley. So.
No, I don't even know how long we've talked for. Let me see
No.
here. We're at about an hour 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. Good job,
Mhm.
guys.
Yeah.
So, man, episode 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's another 2 albums we've reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
If you have music that you want reviewed, email us at bandscamps@gmail.com. We're accepting 2020 and 2021 releases. If you like what you're seeing and hearing and you want to hear it get better and grow with us, you should visit patreon.com/bandscamps and become a patron and support the podcast.
You can support at any level you want. We'll also just take straight up donations. You want to donate money?
Mhm.
We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook.
Yes.
Up next week, we have Cricket Spires and Woots.
Yeah.
This is going to be a Wootsy.
Yeah, Wootsy.
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't know him. I think, are we
Me
going to be
either.
friends? We should go out to eat with him.
I really want to have a beer with all the people that we've reviewed because
We got to go to that kid's 21st birthday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It's gonna get scampy.
It is. Man, I think this has been a great show.
It's been a great show, man. Thank you to Tom Hunt for our intro theme song. Thank you to Cassie Houghton for introducing us and closing us out. Thank you to Julio Gomez for all he does here.
Yeah.
Thank you to me for also being here.
I was gonna say thank you to me.
And thank you to all you who support us and all the accolades. They really mean a lot to us and make me a happy boy.
Yeah. Goodbye, internet.
This has been a Grand Rhapsody production. Executive produced by Dan Fisher and Julio
Jeremy
smoking, Jeremy smoking, crack cocaine.